Can't you see that we are struggling to take care of the two children we had already and us as well? You want to add another child to this stress and suffering? No, I can't take this. A long time ago, Ebere was a young woman living in the small village of Umuoma. She was married to a man named Chidi, and they had two young children, Ada and Kelechi. They were a poor family, but they were rich in love. However, times had been getting tougher. There was never enough money or food to care for the family, and Chidi struggled to find a job. Each time Chidi worked on a farm, they would either pay him little from what was agreed on. They would end up quarreling and arguing. He does several mini and petty jobs just to make sure he provides and take care of his family. One morning, Ebere got up to find out she was pregnant, and the fear to tell her husband, Chidi, gripped her because of the situations of things in the house. She thought to herself what she was going to do. She decided to keep the pregnancy away from her husband, Chidi. On a Saturday morning, as usual, Chidi woke up. He washed his face with a cup of water, set to go for his normal mini jobs. But each place he went to, he was told that there was no job for him. At a point, he became very frustrated. He didn't know what to do. That fateful day, when he got back home, he found his wife, Ebere, sleeping on the ground, very sick, and her body was very hot. Ebere, are you okay? Why are you sleeping outside on this hard ground with this hot sun? Are you sure you are all right? He asked. I was feeling cold, so I thought to stay outside. Maybe it might help me to feel better. She replied. Chidi went closer and touched her body. Ewo, Chineke me, ogene bụ ihe a? He exclaimed in his language, meaning, oh my God, what is this? He exclaimed. Don't you know that your body is very hot? He asked. No, it's because of the sun, Ebere explained with a low voice. No, I don't think you are all right, oh, because this was not how your voice sounds when you talk. Ebere tried as much as possible to keep the pregnancy away from Chidi, but Chidi later insisted that he was going to call the village nurse that had always helped them whenever any one of them falls sick. When the village nurse arrived, she checked Ebere and immediately called Chidi by the side. Nurse, what happened? Is my wife okay? The nurse laughed. Congratulations, Mr. Chidi. This one is a good sickness, so there is nothing to worry about, she explained. With time, she will be fine, Chidi. Chidi is still very surprised. Which one is good sickness again? How can you see someone with high temperature and she's saying is a good sickness? That was why I don't like calling this woman. It's just because man cannot afford the bills, he said. The nurse came outside again. Mr. Chidi, it's like you were still pondering at what I said to you, she asked. Yes, nurse, I'm still confused until now. Your wife is pregnant. Preg? What are you saying? Mr. Chidi fainted right away. The nurse ran to get some water. She poured some water on him. He opened his eyes and continued where he stopped. Nurse, what did you just say? I didn't hear you very well. Can you please explain to me what you just said? Nurse, please, what did you say earlier? He asked again. Please, Mr. Chidi, you want me to tell you again? Maybe this time around you will just die without surviving it. Don't worry, you will soon get used to it. Few days later, Ebere became well and Chidi asked her if she was aware of her pregnancy. She said yes. How come? You didn't tell me. How could you keep such information away from me? And why did you allow yourself to be pregnant again? He asked so many questions at the same time. Can't you see that we are struggling to take care of the two children we had already and us as well? You want to add another child to this stress and suffering? No, I can't take this. You have to look for what to do. You can't keep this pregnancy, he said. Ebere looking very worried. She doesn't know what to do or what step to take. That night, Ebere and Chidi, her husband, talked throughout the night. They had a lot of arguments about the pregnancy. Ebere, see, you have to get rid of that pregnancy because I don't want to see another child suffer. How can you be so careless, leaving yourself to carry pregnancy? He asked angrily. This time around, he got up from the bed, raising his voice. Chidi, please, take it easy. I didn't mean it this way, Ebere begged. My friend, will you shut up that your mouth? How could you say you don't mean it like that when you hide it away from me? And now you are almost 3 months gone and you are here saying rubbish. I will have a problem with you if you don't do anything about it. He shouted and he left the room and went to stay in the living room. I don't know why some women cannot think and have just a few common sense. How can she let herself get pregnant when I haven't provided enough for the family? You are bringing in another one with the one on the ground. Ha! This woman will not kill me for my mother. After all, my mother did not kill my father during their own time, he said, talking to himself and very restless to sleep throughout the night. I have to think fast on what next to do. I can't continue with this before someone dies here. One night, as Ebere was preparing a small meal of yam and vegetables her neighbor gave to her, Chidi came home looking more worried than usual. He sat down heavily and sighed. Ebere, we cannot go on like this, he said, his voice breaking. I have tried everything, but I cannot find a way to make money to feed our family. Ebere looked at him with tears in her eyes. We will find a way, Chidi. We just have to keep trying, and I believe one day everything would turn out well. Please, my husband. But Chidi shook his head. I cannot bear to watch you and the children suffer anymore. I am leaving, Ebere. Maybe if I go away, I can find work and send money back home. Ebere's heart chattered. No, Chidi, don't leave us, she pleaded. But Chidi had made up his mind. See, Ebere, you don't expect me to sit back and watch you people suffer. That doesn't count me to be a man. This situation is driving me crazy already. People in this village are mocking us, calling us all sort of names. This is too much for me to bear, Chidi said. But please, you shouldn't listen to what people are saying. We just have to focus on what is on ground and stop looking at what people are saying. We are looking forward to achieve our purpose and aim. Please, Chidi, stay back. But you should know that you leaving us will never bring a solution. Ebere replied, don't worry, I have a plan. With that plan, I think the solution will come, but not while I am here. I have to move. He hugged his children tightly and kissed Ebere goodbye. I love you, Ebere. Take care of our children, he whispered before he walked out of their small hut and into the night. Ebere wept. She wept throughout the night and every other day. She was thinking about how she would survive with her two children and her pregnancy. Chidi did not drop one penny for her to take care of the children and herself, but she kept her hope strong, believing Chidi, her husband, would come back or send some money to them. But her hope looking forever impossible. Her children kept on crying, asking about their father. She keeps promising them every day, today, tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes nor ends. Ebere was tired of this situation of things with them. She now had the thought of moving her children to her parents' house while she think of next step to take. One day, one of her best friend, Oluchi, came around to visit her. Ebere explained all she had been going through. Her friend felt very sorry for her, and she supported her plans to move to her parents' house. Ebere, I think your ideas make sense. Moving to your parents' house will help you a lot, and you are pregnant. You need someone around you at all times, she advised Ebere. Chidi did not try at all. For over 2 months, he hasn't come back to check on you and your children. And in no time, you will put to bed. Very sad, she said. Ebere wept. She cried throughout that night, and Oluchi pet her and encouraged her to keep strong, that everything was going to be all right. Oluchi, her friend, spent few days with Ebere, and she gave her some money and promised she was going to revisit her again. Weeks turned into months. Ebere waited for Chidi. Chidi never returned, and Ebere found it harder and harder to feed her children. The farmers around doesn't give her job any longer because of her pregnancy, and she had sold her petty trade and used all the money to feed her children and herself. Her pregnancy became extra burden and made everything more difficult. Finally, with no other choice, Ebere decided to return to her parents' home in Umuoma. Her parents welcomed her back with open arms, but life was still tough. Her parents were poor as well, and adding to Ebere and her children made things even more challenging. Ebere's mother, Mama Ifoma, did her best to help. She took care of Ada and Kelechi, while Ebere tried to find a way to support them. Ebere was able to collect some vegetables and some food items from those that sell in bulk. The owner would always pity her. She gives her the items on credit. Each time she finished selling, she would give the money back to the woman, the amount she agreed with her. Ebere was able to save up just little amount of money on her plans to relocate to somewhere else to search for a job. But she continued to search for jobs. One night, after a long day of searching, for work and finding nothing, Ebere sat with her mother. Mama, I have to do something. I cannot let my children starve, she said, tears streaming down her face. Mama Ifoma hugged her tightly. You are strong, my daughter. You will find a way. I know that the God I serve will not disappoint us. Ebere made a difficult decision. She would leave her children with her mother and go to the big city of Umadi. She had heard there were more opportunities there, and she hoped to find a job that would allow her to send money back to her family. One day, she called her mother. Mama, I heard that in Umadi that there are great opportunities there. Please, Mama, I have thought about it and I think I should go and give it a try. But my daughter, you don't know anyone there and you can see that you are pregnant. Please, my daughter, don't go. We will manage what we have, and I believe that one day Chidi would be back. After all, we have been managing, my daughter. Mama, I know, but we can't continue like this, and I don't want to keep depending and waiting for my husband to give me money. And for Chidi, my husband, I don't think he is coming back any soon, she replied. What do you mean by he's not coming any soon? Did you two had a fight? You better tell me so that I would know how to go about it, her mother asked. Mama, you know me, your daughter. I don't do such a thing. Chidi and I love ourselves so much, she replied her mother. As at this time, their two children had stopped going to school because of the inability to pay their school fees and feeding. After all said and done, Ebere's mother agreed to Ebere's pleading. 2 days later, she packed her things, but each time she tries to think about her journey, it breaks her heart. At this point, her two beautiful children matters a lot to her. She cried throughout that day, but had no choice but to go and work harder to help train her children and the unborn baby. She wiped her tears and went to spend few times with her children while playing with them. She later sat them down and talked with them and made them know that she was just going for a while, that she would come back anytime soon. But her children cried, saying, Mama, please don't go. Don't leave us here alone. This was what Papa said. Since then, we haven't seen him, and now you want to leave us here. They were sad. Hearing all this broke Ebere's heart the more. While all this was going on, her mother walked in, looking very worried. Seeing her going to Umadi with this her condition, heavily pregnant, without knowing anyone in Umadi, makes her very sad. But she laid her hand on her and prayed for her. My daughter, you will go well. Doors will open for you. Early in the morning, the next day, Ebere kissed her children goodbye, promising to return soon with a heavy heart. She set off for Umadi. The journey was long and exhausting, especially with her growing belly. She walked for hours, resting only when she couldn't take another step. Throughout the journey, she had a mixed feeling, and she worried so much about her children and her mother. But she encouraged herself and she kept on moving, hoping all will end well. When Ebele finally arrived in Umadi, she was overwhelmed by the size and busyness of the city. Immediately, without wasting time, she wandered the streets looking for work, but no one would hire a pregnant woman. As night fell, she had no place to sleep, but she later found herself at the marketplace. It was quiet now, the stores empty and the sellers gone home. Ebere coiled up in a corner, using her small bag as a pillow. She tried to stay warm with her tiny clothes, but the night was cold and lonely. She was very scared of what would happen to her in the dark, lonely market, but she just prayed and forced herself to sleep. Few hours after she fell asleep, she felt a hand touching her. She jumped, screaming in fear. Please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. I am a pregnant woman, she cried. Don't worry, madam, I will not hurt you, he said. But what are you doing here at this time of the night? It's a long story, sir, Ebere explained, shivering. Okay, I am one of the market's vigilante group here. Please do not sleep here again. You might not be lucky next time, he explained. Thank you, sir. You can go and sleep. I will be around here watching, and I will inform all of my colleagues. Thank you so much, sir. Few minutes later, she slept back. Ebere woke up to the sounds of the markets coming to life. Sellers were setting up their stalls, calling out to each other and arranging their goods. Ebere stood up fast, feeling stiff and hungry. She walked through the market hoping to find some food or a kind soul who might help her. A woman named Mma noticed Ebere. Mma had a small shop where she sold fruits and vegetables. She saw the tired, hungry look in Ebere's eyes and felt a pang of sympathy. Hello, my dear, Mma said, smiling warmly. Are you hungry? Ebere nodded, her stomach growling loudly. Mma handed her a ripe mango. Here, eat this, she said. Ebere thanked her and bit into the juicy fruit. It tasted like heaven. I think this is the opportunity I need to get a child for myself. I have to trick her to feel I cared about her situation. Then, when I make her trust me, then I will take the baby from her, she thought to herself. Mma watched Ebere with concern. Do you have a place to stay? She asked. Ebere shook her head, tears falling down her face. No, ma, I don't, she whispered. Would you like to stay in my house? She asked. Yes, ma, if that is possible. Come with me, Mma said. You can stay with me until you find a job for yourself. Ebere couldn't believe it. She thanked Mma over and over again, feeling a glimmer of hope for the first time in days. Mma's home was small but cozy. She gave Ebere a warm meal and a comfortable bed to sleep in. Ebere was so grateful. But Ebere, why were you sleeping at the marketplace? Don't you have a husband or family that can support you? Mma asked. Yes, I do have a husband and family, but I have to leave them to find better opportunities in Omadi. She explained all that happened to her, giving Mma her trust. Mma felt pity, but still interested with her thoughts. I'm so sorry, Ebere. All you have been through in life is so unfair to some people. But please, just make yourself comfortable. Here, I believe with time, things will surely fall in place for you, she encouraged Ebere. Thank you, ma. The next day, she helped Mma in the shop, cleaning and arranging the fruits and vegetables. Life was starting to look better for Ebere, but as the days went by, Ebere noticed that Mma would sometimes look at her belly with strange eyes. At first, Ebere thought nothing of it, but then Mma started asking a lot of questions about the baby. Is it a boy or a girl? When is it due? Mma asked. Ebere answered politely, but she started to feel a little unease. One morning, Ebere woke up to find that Mma was very angry. Reasons for her being angry she doesn't know or understand. Why haven't you found a job yet, Mma? Mma shouted. Ebere was surprised and scared. I am trying my best, Ma, she replied softly and stammering. But Mma didn't seem to care. If you don't find a job soon, I will throw you out, Mma threatened. Ebere didn't know what to do. Days turned into weeks, and Mma's threats continued. Sometimes, Mma would not give Ebere any food. She needs to learn how to take care of herself, Mma would say. Other times, Mma would not let Ebere take a bath. Ebere was very sad and scared. She didn't understand why Mma was being so mean. One day, a young man named Obi came to the market. He was strong and kind, and he worked as a carpenter. He noticed Ebere looking sad and tired. Are you okay? Mr. Obi asked. Ebere didn't want to get into trouble with Mma, so she just nodded, but Obi could see that something was wrong. Obi started visiting the market more often. He would buy fruits and vegetables from Mma's shop and talk to Ebere when Mma was not around. If you ever need help, just let me know, Obi said. Ebere felt a little better, knowing that someone cared about her. One night, Ebere overheard Mma talking to someone. I want the baby. That baby, I really want the baby in her womb, Mma said. I don't care what it takes. Ebere's heart raised. She realized that Mma had been planning to take her baby all along. She knew she had to find a way to escape. Ebere decided to tell Obi everything. The next day, when Mma was not around, she told Obi about Mma's terrible plan. Obi was shocked. We have to get you out of here, he said. They started planning Ebere's escape. Did Ebere escape successfully? What do you think that happened to Ebere and her baby? Did Chidi, her husband, later came back for them? Find out what happened next in part 2.